have the honors. So you're going to start us off, Colleen.
Is this on? It's on, yay. Wasn't sure. So, since we started chanting last night, I thought we'd get some crowd participation before I started my speech. So is everyone ready?
Yes.
Lord. Okay, that was fun. But, yeah, moving on. My name's Colleen, and I am Lauren's older sister, really only by 15 months. So that meant growing up, we pretty much did literally everything together. Or I should say, Lauren got signed up for whatever really I wanted to do. So, as you can see, Lauren and I look a lot alike. Most people thought we were twins growing up. And many of the teachers we had throughout grade school and high school would call Lauren Colleen in class, which I always thought was interesting. So this is something she probably just got used to, I guess. Growing up, Lauren and I played on many of the same sports teams because, as many of you heard last night, actually, Lauren and I, or my parents lied about our ages so that way they could coordinate schedules. So Lauren always had to play up. So I'm sorry, Lauren, if, throughout the years I yelled at you too much for dropping a pass or not running fast enough. We also fought over clothing, and to this day, when I come to visit, I still find something of mine in her closet. So I'm sure Steven over here our younger brother, can relate and remember the epic sports bra fight in high school in 2005.
I still have a few.
Yeah. We also had to share a car growing up. It was a Nissan Pathfinder. We had many memories in that car and many fights over who was able to drive it that weekend. Lauren usually got to drive the Pathfinder because she would break down crying about having to drive the minivan. As we got older, Lauren and I became closer. I took Lauren to her first college parties and also gave her her first fake ID, which was just really my old ID. I just went to the DMV and said, sorry, I lost my ID, and then gave her my one and got a new one. With that fake ID, we enjoyed many wild nights at Club Dana's drinking the Herschel Special. He would always give us one for free because we had the same birthday as him, February 18th. Lauren has always been the compassionate and loving one of the family. I remember as a child, she loved to watch movies like Land Before Time and Homeward Bound. She cried literally every time she watched it, even though she knew what was going to happen next. Lauren also took care of my American Girl doll, Molly, because I did not want to play with her. She said she felt bad, and because she just sat in my closet. Lauren, what I am most proud of is the woman that you have become. I am glad she went to Xavier and created her own identity because I know that I am a hard act to follow. I am glad she learned to be an independent woman and realized I would not always be there to provide her with lunch money anymore or money to get into sporting events like when we would go in high school. So. And especially when she would conveniently forget it at home, so that way maybe she could spend it at the mall over the weekend. So I wanted to tell a story about one day when Lauren called me and she said, I met a guy. And I was like, tell me more, because she never tells me things like this, so I was like really interested. She said his name was Dan and that they met at the Apple store. And for many of you who know Lauren, she never does updates on any of her software, so it drives me nuts. Like you'll hit the update button, it'll update for literally 3 days at her house. So that's the reason why she went, because it was too far behind where they just had to do something for her. Later on that evening, they ran into each other at MLTs, or ML Dudes as some people call it here. Later that evening. She told me she really liked you, Dan, but she was worried about your age and your choice of mandals as your primary footwear. Yeah. I'm assuming that she got over these two items because we all just saw you two get married today. Dan, I couldn't be happier to have you as another brother in the family. Dan, I did want to give you a few things make sure you knew a few things about Lauren. So you might want to write these down or type them in your phone. Rule number 1, never buy a minivan. Always balance the checkbook and create a budget because Lauren will never do this. If she has had a rough day, nothing that will work better is Graeter's ice cream. Graeter's ice cream, specifically the raspberry chocolate chunk. And any designer purse will do. And if she drives her car, she will always bring it back on empty, so allow for extra time the next day. So, with that being said, I'm really happy for the two of you, so everyone please raise your glass for a toast. And my wishes for you, for Lauren and Dan, are that they have continued and loving friendship and partnership, that they enjoy success and laughter, and that they always see and talk with their heart. With these wishes, I wish them the very best on their wedding day. Cheers.
Yeah, that was a tough act to follow. Let's give Colleen a round of applause for that wonderful speech. So, I'm going off the cuff on this thing here, so we're just going fly by the seat of my pants. But, what can I say about Dan? He's a great guy, heart of gold, and I'd like to say that he's learned a lot of these attributes from me. We're kind of like brothers. I've taught him about women, life, drinking, shotgunning beers, all the whole 9 yards. So, but Dan is a great guy, and one thing I haven't taught him, and what he's taught me, is selflessness and being just a wonderful guy, heart of gold. Will do anything for you. So, for example, I should probably start with the fact that how Dan and I met. Dan and I met in the first grade, walking to school together. I think I was throwing rocks at a house, and Dan came by and kind of joined. He's like, "What are you doing over there?" He's like, "Yeah, I was throwing rocks, on the way to school." And ever since that moment, we've been inseparable. We went to elementary school together. We kept in contact throughout junior high, high school, became roommates in college, and here we are in the same city. Just so happens that we're both in the same city, both married, beautiful wives, and it's been like kindred spirits. We're just here, just every day, just keeping in contact and all that stuff. So I was gonna write a speech, but then I was sitting at my house in my study, which was on my couch with a laptop, and I started thinking about all the different stories I could come up with. One was being throwing rocks at a house. One being the first time we had our first drink together. Another time was the time we stole a case of beer from a college party. And, I would have neglected a lot of things if I just would have focused on a few areas, like the time we almost got arrested at the U.S.-Canadian border. So, because Dan had aspirin in his bag, and they thought it was drugs. Dan was terrified. He was terrified. First time he ever crossed the border. This is back in Windsor, 19. We were just going there, and he was scared poopless. But anyways, I didn't want to write speeches. I just wanted to speak straight from the heart. And as I said, Dan's just a wonderful guy. And I told you all, some of you all, this story last night, and I'll share it with everyone here. Dan told me when he first met Lauren, he called me up and he said, "Hey, I met a girl last night, I go, oh yeah, cool. What's her name? Said Lauren. Okay, cool. Yeah, Lauren Goodwillie. I go, bro, I think that's a made-up name. I think you're getting hustled. I think you're getting hustled over here. And I swear, I was like, who names their kid Lauren Goodwillie? Like, that just sounds so made up. You're talking to a guy, Tony Almaguer. That name means something, right? But there's Lauren. But anyways, so I was like, I think that might be made up, but you know, more power to you. And here we are in the flesh. So I was talking on the, you know, and as I was crafting this speech, you know, it's going so well. I was crafting this speech on the bus, and I talked to Lauren. I said, Lauren, do you remember the first time we met? And she goes, no. And I go, I don't either. But you know what though? I don't remember the first time we met, but I don't remember my life without her. Like, I really don't. She's just been this perfect part of our lives. So you know, Dan and I've known each other for 25 years. Back when I had a mullet. I still bring out that mullet every once in a while when I get really good. But you know what? It really took a special lady for me to give Dan's hand to you. And I wouldn't have just gave it to any Tom, Dick, or Harry. I gave it to Lauren. She's very special. These two have hearts of gold. They're selfless. They're just amazing people. And everyone in this room is better for knowing these two. They make you better. They make you better people. Okay? So I'm so looking forward to us taking our kids camping, taking our kids cabrewing, taking our kids to the brat house when they're of age, to the you know, getting the wave by the bud man, you know, just passing through. For all you from BG, you might know that joke. But anyways, I couldn't have picked a better couple for these two are just match made in heaven. So let's raise a glass. Let's cheer. Let's toast to this beautiful couple right here. And here's the love and life and loving Lauren and Dan. Cheers.
Yeah, I'm Ashley's mom.
And let's get a big round of applause.